Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into email marketing. We're going to take a whole mountain of advice from the experts and boil it down to the core principles that actually get results. Okay, let's be real for a second. We have all been there. You spend all this time crafting the perfect email, you hit that send button, and nothing. Just crickets. You start to wonder, is that send button just a one-way ticket to the trash folder? It's super frustrating, but it really doesn't have to be that way. So, we did the homework for you. We went through 35 tips from founders, from top-tier marketers, from CEOs, all to find those golden nuggets. In this explainer, we're going to show you exactly what separates an email people have to read from the digital junk they delete without a second thought. All right, let's kick things off with our first big idea, the strategy behind standouts. Because here's the thing, great emails don't start with clever writing. They start way before that, with a rock-solid strategy. The first, most crucial piece of that strategy is something called segmentation. And as James Hardquest puts it, this really is the key. It just means you stop blasting the same message to everyone. Instead, you divide your subscribers into smaller groups based on, what they're interested in, what they've bought before, things like that. That way, you can tailor your message and have a real conversation that actually resonates. And that leads right into personalization. But look, we're talking about more than just sticking a first name at the top of the email. I mean, that's good. It's a start. But better personalization? That's when you use what you know about them. Sending someone recommendations based on their past buying history, now that's personal. It shows you're paying attention. So you're probably thinking, how am I supposed to manage all these personal conversations? Well, that's where automation becomes your best friend. It's like having a tireless assistant. Just imagine a simple journey. A new person subscribes, they immediately get a warm welcome. If they look at a few products but leave, they get a gentle reminder. A few days later, maybe a little special offer to nudge them over the line. See, the conversation keeps going and you're building a relationship, all on autopilot. Okay, let's move on to our second pillar. Now that we have a strategy for who we're talking to, we got to figure out what we're actually going to say. It's all about crafting content that connects. Now, this is probably one of my favorite tips from Ananvita Bhattacharya. Use stories. Look, facts are fine, data is okay, but stories are what people remember. They create an emotional hook. Instead of just listing what your product does, tell the story of how it changed things for a real customer. You're not just selling anymore, you're creating an experience. Of course, before they can fall in love with your story, you've got to get them to open the email in the first place. This is where the curiosity gap comes into play. A subject line like, "Today's crypto market." Well, it's pretty bland, easy to scroll past. But what about must-read crypto analysis from someone who lived 100 years ago? See what that does? It creates a little mystery, an itch in your brain that you just have to scratch by clicking. All right, now for an idea that might feel a little weird at first. It's from Eric Doty, and he calls it the zero-click email. We're all obsessed with getting people to click, right? But look at his results. 80% of his audience read the email, but only 2% actually clicked the link. So his point is, why make the click the only goal? Deliver the entire piece of value right there in the email. That way, you've won with the 80%, not just the 2%. So we've nailed the strategy and the content. Let's talk about our third pillar, designing for the click. This is all about how the visual layout of your email helps guide your reader to take that next step. Think of this as your quick and dirty design checklist. First, you need a crystal clear, compelling call to action. That's non-negotiable. Your layout has to be mobile first, because that's where most people are reading. Keep your branding consistent in both your words and your look. Use graphics, but use them smartly. Don't let them drown out your message. And the simple stuff like readable fonts and buttons big enough to tap. It all matters. And really, every single one of those design tips serves one big purpose. Jay Zhao from Surety Now just nails it here. He says, tell the reader exactly what you want them to do. There should be zero confusion. Every single part of the design should act like a giant flashing arrow pointing right at that main action, whether it's buy now or read more. Okay, this is a big one. Your email is strategic.
It's brilliantly written, it's beautifully designed, but what if it never even gets to the inbox? This brings us to our fourth pillar, which is all about ensuring your email arrives. Now, don't let these acronyms scare you off. SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, you can just think of these as your email's passport. They're basically technical handshakes that prove to Gmail, Outlook, and all the others that your email is legit and that you are who you say you are. It's what separates you from the spammers. So why should you care about all this technical stuff? Well, Lilia Taubin from bigmailer.io is super clear about it. You have to invest the time. This isn't just some little tweak for power users, it's fundamental. If you don't do this, you're pretty much flipping a coin on whether your emails land in the inbox or the spam folder. All that great work on strategy and content, it could all be for nothing. So we've gone through strategy, content, design, and all the technical delivery stuff. But to bring it all home, let's talk about the mindset, the philosophy that pulls all these tips together into something really powerful. Let's talk about your next level email mindset. Look at this number, 400. That's how many top-tier, high-quality contacts Mashi Clegg's agency was adding to their list every single month. And their secret? They didn't just go out and buy a huge generic list of names. Nope. They earned every single one through targeted, personal outreach. It is the ultimate proof of that golden rule. Quality always beats quantity. And honestly, if you only take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. This quote from Ian Sells says it all. Educate instead of sell. Think about it. Nobody likes being sold to all the time, but people love to learn, to feel like they're getting smarter. When you focus on giving real value and building that relationship first, you become a trusted guide. And the sales? They just naturally follow that trust. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge, a question to chew on. Forget about what everyone else is doing for a minute. Thinking about everything we've just talked about, the strategy, the storytelling, the connection. What is the one story that only your brand can tell? Find that and you'll find your magic.